Today I'm here at Durst in the headquarters, in the beautiful headquarters of Durst in Brixen in South Tyrol, Italy, with Thomas Macina, who is the sales director of the flexible packaging and label division here at Durst. So thank you, Thomas, for accepting my proposal to
thanks to you,
meet
Lorenzo.
each other.
Thanks to you. It's a great opportunity. And welcome to Brixen, welcome to South Tyrol, welcome to Durst.
Thanks. Thomas, what are the most important milestones in your education and where your interest in technology in general start?
So I studied international economics in Bolzano, and from very little I knew that I wanted to be operating at a wide level, at the international level. I did not have any particular interest in technology. Of course, we are all surrounded by technology, so you better adapt since you are little to technology, and it's better that you like it. But there was no particular interest in technology, I must say.
And what brought you to the printing industry? And what convinced you, what encouraged you to be part of our market, of our industry for such a long time?
Look, I started in HP young, in my early 20s. So I learned the printing industry little by little. And mainly I learned the labels and packaging industry. And I immediately fell in love with that industry, and I still love it. I still how a label and a package can influence a product, can even change the product. I truly believe a label and packaging is the 5th P of marketing. So I like that industry.
We have something in common. It's so strange, it's so unique to see how people like you and people like me are so passionate and so in love with this strange and colored place.
Yes.
So, and is there a particular person, a particular company, a particular episode that marked your story, your career?
Not really. I wouldn't mention one. What I can definitely say, I had always the luck to be surrounded by many strong leaders, colleagues, even customers, from whom I could learn, I could develop myself, and I think that's probably the journey that make it enriching for me.
Okay, and when and how did you did you start in the packaging industry in particular, and in particular in the label converting sector?
Look, after some years in HP, I got the opportunity in 2012 to join Indigo's labels team. And it was from the first moment that I really loved that environment, that industry. It almost feels like a family, the labels industry. So I like to be there, I like the customers, I like the industry.
And going back to the early days, to your early days in the label division at Indigo, or at HP Indigo, what were the main obstacles that you find in the conversation with the well-established label converters, and what have been the key point of digital technology that triggered the interest of these guys?
Look, I believe nowadays no label converter would deny the need of digital printing. Okay, but you're right. 10 years ago, it was all about explaining why digital. Okay, what are the advantages of no plates, minimum waste, minimum setup, no need of high-skilled operators. Okay, so at the end, we're trying to explain that the goal is to make a good business, rather than the goal is the label itself. Okay, so you need to have a good label division to reach the business goals, rather than being the goal, the printing itself. I think that changed over the last decade. Yes.
Okay, and when, if you remember it, when was the decisive turning point in this spread of digital technology? When this technology started to become more popular?
I believe for the labels industry, maybe the first significant milestone was Indigo Series 3, so the 6000 series, that brought, I believe, a good product to the market. Then the second milestone, maybe the high productive inkjet devices that were introduced. And finally, I believe that the third and probably the milestones we are now is the combination between the quality and the productivity with the 1200 dpi technology. I believe these are maybe the three milestones in the last 10, 15 years.
And finally, it happened in the label market. And why, in your opinion, label makers, label converters have embraced digital technology more quickly than other type of converters and other area of the packaging industry, such as the folding carton, for example?
Mm-hmm. I believe, the needs are appearing not equally and not at the same time. While in the label market, the run lengths were changing dramatically fast. If you believe maybe 10, 15 years, the average run length was 4,000 or 5,000 meters. This rapidly declined and is probably now around 2,000 meters, even less in some industry verticals. So there was the need for digital printing. On the opposite, on folding carton or on flexible packaging, the run lengths are huge. They're still in the 10,000, 12,000, and actually they talk about kilos and tons. They don't talk about units like a label or a package. They talk about huge quantities. So I believe the needs are not yet there. However, the trends are very, very similar to labels. So I believe the trends and the brand needs, and so the needs of the converters will change and will also go in the direction that digital can help. And to be honest, Lorenzo, I believe also technology needs still to evolve to really fit the requirements of flexible packaging or folding carton for these longer runs. I believe there is some technology involvement needed still.
And today, what are the opportunities, the concrete opportunities for a further digital transformation of the label and flexible packaging markets?
So for labels, I believe the next big thing will be the migration of conventional jobs to digital. I believe until now, probably digital printing represents 10% in labels. Those are typically high value short runs. So I think the next big thing is to reach maybe 50% of digital printing in labels with converting conventional to digital, okay, for medium long runs. On the other side, on flexible packaging, I think we need to start with their short runs, which are still huge runs, but I believe that's the natural path in any industry.
In going a little bit into the technology, in the beginning it was just electroink and toner, all the only available options, digital options for label, and then inkjet came, and you have been an electroink guy for many years. Do you think that these toner, electroink, and inkjet technologies will coexist in the long term, or that finally inkjet will prevail?
Difficult question. I believe they will coexist for some time for sure. They have different technologies, different advantages. However, I believe looking forward, inkjet will gain more and more market share, because I believe that the basics, the printing quality is now given, mainly with the new 1200 dpi technology. Quality is given, and the new needs, the additional needs like productivity, simplicity, cost effectiveness to go to medium and long runs, I believe are better represented by inkjet printing.
To what extent, in your opinion, this further digital transformation will be driven by the existing medium, big size label converters, or by the new digital native guys, the new digital shops, the new digital business?
Mm-hmm. Look, I believe the transformation started already, right? Because the label market is quite digitalized already. As I mentioned before, I believe there are no questions that digital printing is needed. However, I think it can be accelerated faster if such digital native companies push upwards, right? Because this will shake a bit the market and will accelerate the transformation also in the conventional players. I think until some years, probably those conventional players have been in a comfort zone, but now they see that there are many emerging business opportunities, so they need to adapt. And this might be accelerated if these digital native companies continue to push.
What are the most promising markets, the most promising global markets and economies? Europe, North America, Asia, it doesn't matter. And to what extent some of them are more unique? Why some are more unique, are more peculiar than others?
Look, whenever you travel to a country, they always say, this country is very different, very special. And that's true. I truly believe every country has particularities, every region, even within the countries, it's sometimes different. And that's the beauty, right? That's the beauty of being internationally operating, because I see all the differences and can help them and can share some experiences across the world. The strongest market, Lorenzo, I believe, well, of course, the mature markets are continuing growing, because we're talking overall 4%, 5% growth in mature market in the labels industry. I believe the true promising markets are probably in the emerging markets, because the label industry is very linked to the consumption. And in these markets, we see the consumption is changing very fast to a modern consumption. Okay, everybody wants the product exactly how they want it. The products become smaller, because it's more single households, more consumption on the go. So I believe in those emerging markets where the consumption is changing, there will be the most opportunities for the labels industry to grow even faster than in the mature markets.
Since the last February, when you joined Durst, you shared the leadership of the label and flexible packaging division with Helmut Munter. And how much this cohabitation has enriched you?
Well, first, Helmut is an incredible person. He's consistent, he's strong, he's passionate, he's empathic. So I learned a lot from him. And I believe now I'm ready to take a continuation on what he has built from scratch and even bring it to the next level. So I definitely appreciate Helmut for what I could learn with him, experience with him in this time, and I wish him all the best in his next chapter of life.
What do you believe are the unique traits that allowed Durst and will allow Durst again to make a big difference in this industry?
I believe, if you see around, Durst is surrounded by mountains. And I think it has been characterized by that fact for many years, and has brought to a special combination between innovation, stubbornness, and commitment. I believe that's something very unique, and whoever has visited us or has worked with us can really feel and experience that.
Thomas, landing here in Brixen at Durst is also homecoming for you. You are a Tyrolean guy. Do you think this is the place, Brixen, Südtirol, and Durst is the company where you can put down your permanent roots for the future?
Look, Durst has very ambitious plans. And also the way of business matches very well to what I expect. Okay, so I believe I feel at home here. I don't have plans to change now. It matches to what I've been looking in a company. I will continue living in Barcelona. I'm globally responsible, so from there I will go to visit customers, partners, and be close in the industry. So for me, it's no need to live here. So I will continue living in Barcelona. And anyway, Lorenzo, nowadays, it's not so important where we are physically. I think we are very well connected among different virtual possibilities. I will be often here in Brixen, definitely, but I will be mostly around the world, close to our customers and in the industry.
I understood. You want to enjoy the best of both worlds.
Yes, exactly. It's a good combination.
The best of the Mediterranean and the best of the Alps.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you.